Welcome. In this video, we are going to publish all of the HTML files that we created for our Quarto website. We're going to publish them to GitHub pages. So at this stage, you've worked with the files, in particular, the underscore Quarto YAML file and the index file to create a really basic looking website locally on our computer. And then we took all of those files, we synced them with GitHub remotely. So now we've got all of those files stored under version control in GitHub as well. And so what I need to do is just give a nice web address to that page that people can now access that same exact web page from any web browser using a very nice looking address. So here I am in my demo site. So to walk through this process, the first step is to go into your GitHub account and go into the repo where you moved all of those files. So all of the files that are going to be used to build the website are actually stored in this docs folder. These are the files that I use to build that website, and I have all of this under version control since I want these to be consistent. I want to have the raw files that I used that rendered and went into creating these HTML files. But GitHub is only going to need to use the HTML files and the style files that are in the docs folder to create the web page. But that has not been enabled yet. So in order to enable that, I need to go into the settings in the repo. So here I am in the demo site repo. And what I want to do is go into the pages section of the settings. So that's over here on the left side of the menu bar. I can choose pages. So here I am in GitHub pages. So what I want to do is, yes, I want to build and deploy from a branch. That's perfect. I want to go into the branch and I want to select the main branch. So the things that I'm going to want to change are down here in the branch section. So I want to select the main branch. That's where I'm going to build my GitHub pages. The default is to use the root directory, but all of my files are stored in the docs directory. So I'm going to change this to the docs directory. The root directory would mean all of those HTML files were stored in the main directory, but I have them in a subdirectory called docs. So that's why I'm going to choose docs. And then I'm going to choose save. And so after I've clicked the save button, these pages are now going to be accessible through the public. And the website that I'm going to enter, the address is going to be, let me enter that on a fresh page. So it's going to be my username, .github.io, and then / and then the name of the repo, which was demo site. That was the name of my repo. If you called your repo something different, you would just change the name. And again, if you used the main homepage, then you wouldn't have anything. You would just enter your username .github.io. So it takes a couple of minutes for this to get active, but you can see mine is active. So once you hit the save button, if you go and enter your address, right away, it's going to say that this page doesn't exist. So you might want to wait 1 or 2 minutes before you enter the address. But now when you enter the web address, your username .github.io, and then if it's in a repo, / repo name, after a minute or two, that should be active. So let me come back over here into the pages section. And now when I was on the pages section before, this wasn't here and it was confusing me because usually the link is here. And that's because it takes a minute or two for this link to get created. But now you can see that your site is live. And here is the name, the address of the website. And you can click this and it would take you right to this website over here. So now my website is active. So if anybody out there right now goes to this website, you'll see this demo site, but I'm going to make some changes to this. So it won't look like this. If you take a look at it in about 30 minutes, we're going to do some work to customize the website. But just the overall workflow at this point is you've got files in demo site over here. These are the files that are used to build this website. I'm not going to edit those files in GitHub. I'm going to edit those files when I'm working in RStudio. So I'm going to edit those files over here. And then I'm going to take those changes that I made and push them into GitHub. And again, the methods for taking the changes that you've made to local versions and pushing them into the remote version would be either to use the drag and drop method that I talked about second, or to use the terminal to do some command line with Git that is maybe a slightly streamlined way of doing it, but is a little bit more complicated. But it's really important that you get the overall workflow down, that you're going to make changes locally on your computer or in the Posit cloud. And then you need to click and drag those changes or push and pull, or in this case, push those changes from locally on your computer to the remote main branch in GitHub. And once those files are pushed into GitHub, your website is going to update automatically. So you don't need to go into the settings and mess around with the pages settings anymore. That is all configured and ready to go. So anytime I make changes locally, I push them into GitHub or I drag them into GitHub, and then my website's going to be updated automatically. Again, it might take like a minute for those changes to be updated in your website, but they're going to be applied automatically. So in the next couple of videos, we're going to talk about how we can customize our this website.